Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning and happy Wednesday. Happy Valentine's Day. I love y'all, man. In the spirit of love, I appreciate y'all being here. I am thankful to JC and Henry for giving me the chance to be a part of the team. And that's enough corniness for one morning. But all right, y'all, we got a lot to discuss and only so much time. So first things first, we did get a flush yesterday. Hold on, guys. I'm getting an echo here. There we go. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so we got the pullback yesterday. And the first question is, did anything change? So to figure that out, we're going to pull up the old board here. And we'll check the indices. And spoiler alert, nothing has changed. Not even close. Your S&Ps and your QQQ from a monthly chart down to a daily, they're perfect. The Russell, the Dow, the RSP, they got positive scores from a monthly chart down to a 4-hour. So the only thing that really changed yesterday was your lower time frames. And today, tomorrow, Friday, into next week, you really want to focus on those lower time frames. So a good example here is the S&Ps. This might change this morning. We are going to gap up a little bit. But on the SPX here, all right, the monthly chart is 10 out of 10. The weekly chart is 10 out of 10. And your daily chart, as perfect as could be. Down there on that 1 hour and that 30-minute, that's where we got the issues. And for those of you that have been following along, we've only gotten an hourly sell signal on 3 occasions since October 30th. And right before the close yesterday, we got one. So point being, before we can trend higher again, they've got to address this issue. They've got to cancel out that sell signal. They've got to work on getting momentum back above zero. 21 trending higher, the 50 trending higher, price back above the 50. If they can do all those things, I think we're going to keep pushing higher. If they can't cancel out the hourly sell signal, I do think it's a spot we want to be cautious. All right, a few things we do know. As strong as the market is, it's pretty interesting. So the low of day yesterday pretty much takes you into that daily 21. All right, the mean, the buy zone. The weekly chart, however, we pulled back into weekly 3 ATR, meaning we get a big flush, big sell-off, right? Everything's getting nasty. We are still 300 points above that weekly 21 EMA. Point being, there could certainly be room for more downside. That's why we got to focus on that hourly chart. If they can't cancel out that sell signal, I'm not saying we're pulling back to 4,700, but again, there's a lot of room lower. If they can cancel it out, then given the fact that the monthly, the weekly, the daily, everything's still perfect, they can certainly keep the party going. So there's one issue into today. We get some hourly sell signals, and then a few things here on the score sheet. If we look at the top dogs, we've got SMCI 94 out of 100. Lilly is 94 out of 100. If we're looking for continuation of the bullish market, one thing ideally we don't want to see towards the top end, the dollar. We've got the Dixie grading out as a 79 out of 100. All right, really strong, really bullish. So there's one little issue. And then towards the bottom end here, all the way down here with a negative 27 is Apple. So I think if anything, make Apple an internal. Right, the same way you would watch the advanced decline, the same way you would watch the ticks, etc. Watch Apple from the same fashion. Being that Apple is such a heavily weighted stock, if they keep the pressure on Apple, that's going to have an impact on the S&Ps and the QQQ. And as y'all can see, she's not looking too pretty here. We've got sell signals on the daily chart all the way down to the 15. No bueno. We are right above that 200 SMA. So my assumption is 183 should be a big level of support. And then down here on the 4-hour, we got this big, nasty 4-hour squeeze. In the event that fires short, it's going to be a little tough for both the S&Ps and the QQQ to try to get it going to the upside. So there's one problem. We've identified the dollar as another issue. All right, a bunch of buy signals, few squeezes. And then I think the most straightforward issue, which again, we haven't had this too much over the last November, December, January, February. We haven't had this problem too often over the last 3 or 4 months. The hourly sell signal. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, into next week, I think you want to make that one of your rules. You can day trade it to the upside, right? Take your 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeezes. In terms of fresh swing trades, I'm going to buy AMD or I'm going to buy the QQQ. I don't think I want to be long overnight until they can cancel out that hourly sell signal. They got a lot of work ahead, and then I'll show you the futures here. And it's really the same thing here for the futures. The perfect hourly chart, that looks a little something like back here. 21 above the 50, 50 above the 200, 21 EMA trending higher, the 50s trending higher. You've got buy signals, you've got momentum above zero. All of those things come together. It makes for a perfect hourly chart. And from that, you can get that continued trend. All right, 21 above the 50, 50 above that 200, 21 trending higher, 50 trending higher, and a little bit of that momentum. So if that's the perfect hourly chart, in terms of both structure and momentum, compare that to the current hourly chart. Very far from perfect. Right, a lot of things they got to clean up here. We are under the 50. Not ideal for the bulls. We are under the 200. 50 trending lower. Right, not perfect. Is it the perfect short? No. But is that the quality we're looking for continued upside? Not even close. So today, tomorrow, Friday, into next week, if they want to keep the trend going, they've got to clean this up. 21 back above the 50, price back above the 50, throw in some buy signals, and then I think we got something to work with. The key level for today, if they're really going to try to come in here and fix the issues, 5,000 on the ES. And you can already see we're getting a little bit of trouble here this morning. However, we do have a 15-minute squeeze. 15-minute and a 5-minute. So we'll take a look here. All right, fresh 15-minute squeeze. Right up under that big 5K. I think today's a situation where we have to get that short squeeze. Or we could roll right back over. All right, 15-minute squeeze shaping up. Let's go check the 5. Not the greatest. AEMA under your 21. Price is under the 21, under the 50. Momentum is below zero. Not the perfect 5-minute. If we're going to break out and squeeze out the shorts above that 5K, your 1 minute, your 2 minute, the 3 minute, the 5, the 15, everything has to be perfect. They can't fix the issues on the hourly if the lower time frames can't line up. And then over here on the NQ, the big dog, you got a little pop going this morning, but again, this is very far from ideal. Under the 21, under the 50, 8 EMA under the 21 EMA, momentum below 0. If over here is the perfect 5-minute, this is very far from that. Now, the one thing we don't have here is an hourly sell signal. But again, see how it's not ideal? You've got the 50 SMA trending lower. We're under the 50. We're under the 200. So take a screenshot here, a mental screenshot of the perfect structure. All right, a little something like that. Today, we're looking for that from the ground up. If we're going to squeeze the shorts, if we're going to fix the 1-hour charts, if we're going to address all these little issues that are developing, your 1 minute, then your 2 minute, then the 3, then the 5, then the 15. Everything's got to make that turn from the ground up. So I think a really good way to look at it, you can drop all the way down to the 1 minute. And if that thing's not screaming, get long, like perfect structure, perfect everything, you probably want to pump the brakes on the idea of buying the dip and getting long. We've got a 1 minute sell signal. Nothing good will ever happen for the bulls if we've got a 1 minute sell signal. S&P futures on the 1 minute. We've got sell signals. The Dow Jones futures on the 1 minute. Not the best. And the rut. A 1 minute sell signal as well. Now, you might have a good looking 15 minute, and I think we do. I believe we do. Yeah, we definitely do. That's not a bad looking 15-minute squeeze. Momentum above 0, 21 above the 50, 8 above the 21. Good looking 15-minute squeeze. If they're going to fire that to the upside, they've got to line up all your lower time frames. A 1 minute sell signal inside of a 15-minute squeeze, not really a recipe for a big breakout. So keep things simple. Look for that progress in the indicators from the ground up. If you want to look for a day trade long, I think that could work. I think that works really well if the ES gets above that 5K. But as far as getting back to the swing trades, buying calls, selling put credit spreads, holding that risk overnight, my rule is going to be I can't do any of that until and unless they can cancel out that 1-hour sell signal on the SPX. If they can do that, then sure, in the context of a perfect monthly, a perfect weekly, a perfect daily, they can certainly keep the party going. Otherwise, I think we got to respect the fact that as strong as the market is, put this in terms of percentages. We closed yesterday at 49.50. And you've got your weekly 21 all the way down there at, we'll call it 4,700. From 49.50 to 4,700 is a 5% move lower. Meaning tomorrow morning we could gap down 5%. Nothing will have changed on the weekly chart. Structure will still be perfect. Momentum will still be perfect. It's a little bit like your pullback yesterday. Oh no, we're down 1.5%. Well, You pulled back into a beautiful daily chart. On paper, being down 1.5%, 2%, it sounds pretty bearish. It feels a little bit scary. Did anything really happen? Did anything really change? No, not at all. We got to respect the fact that if the lower time frames aren't perfect, locked and loaded, fully aligned, I'm not saying we're going to pull back 250 points. But based on the structure here, we could pull back 200, 250 points. And all of the indicators would still say buy that dip. When we're this overbought, we need perfection. If they're going to push it into 3.5 ATR in the weekly, 4 ATR, everything from the 1 minute chart up, they've got to be fully aligned. So a few things for y'all to keep an eye on today. And going into today, we are long AMD. Who's going to gap up a good $3 or $4? Now, for what it's worth, I don't think the stocks matter at all. I don't think it's about AMD or Nvidia or Google, Meta, Amazon. I think for the next few days, it's all about the S&Ps and the QQQ. Now, with that being said, we can look at the score sheet here. And all of these names that grade out really well, right? SMCI, Lilly, MSTR, Nvidia, Fang, AMAT, Mara, Qualcomm, Chipotle. If the market does clean things up, they should continue to work really nice. Point I'm trying to make is before I jump in and buy some SMCI, I have to see the SPX get rid of that hourly sell signal. If they can clean everything up, get a bunch of brand new buy signals coming through, then I think trying to swing trade these names could still make sense. Otherwise, day trade them, take them to lunch, and then drop them back off at home. Alrighty, let me get the 15-minute squeeze up here. Yeah, 5,000 is the brick wall so far. That shall be the level to break today, 5K. Right up into it and right back down. We definitely want to watch the 15-minute and the 5-minute squeeze. If we're going to anchor to the 15-minute squeeze, meaning we're going to make that the focus, we're going to look for a trade off of the 15-minute. If I want to get a sense of whether or not that wants to fire long or short, I can look at the big three score. Right? It's a 3 out of 10. That's not that great. I'm not going to short it. It's not a negative score. But I'm really looking for that 8, 9, 10 points. So we'll call the 15-minute squeeze. It's just okay. Not quite knocking our socks off. More importantly, all right, for the sake of discussion, pretend the 15-minute squeeze is picture perfect. Right? It's got everything you could ever ask for. Good structure, moving average crosses, a bunch of momentum. Let's just pretend it's a 10 out of 10. That still means nothing. You can have the perfect 15-minute squeeze. If all of your time frames inside of it, when you pop open the hood, if they're not perfect, if they're not aligned for a push higher, you're not going to get anything from that 15-minute squeeze. So even if this thing was perfect, and it's not, it is 7 points away from perfect. But even if it was, all right, I'm going to go check my 5. And the question is, does my 5-minute chart scream the 15-minute squeeze wants to break out to the upside? With a -1, not at all. In that 15-minute squeeze, if my 5-minute is a 7, a 8, a 9, a 10, pretty good chance a 15-minute squeeze fires long. A -1, if we are looking for a breakout, that's not going to cut it. Drop down to your 2-minute time frame. Even if the 15 is perfect, and even if the 5-minute were perfect, if my 2-minute looks like crap, I'm not going to get that breakout. I challenge you to find a 15-minute squeeze that breaks out and fires long when your 2-minute chart has a sell signal. Right? It can't happen. The way the indicator functions, that can't physically happen. 15-minute squeeze fires, breaks out, big push. Your 2-minute will never look like that. Before and during that big push, you're never going to have a 2-minute sell signal. So that doesn't quite cut it. A -4. And then you can drop all the way down to your 1-minute. And the same exact rules apply. I could have the perfect 15, the perfect 5-minute. If both my 2-minute and my 1-minute print a sell signal, we're not going to break out just yet. Now imagine instead, you've got that 15-minute squeeze, and then boom, the 1-minute prints a buy signal, and then boom, the 2-minute prints a buy signal, and then the 5-minute prints a buy signal. At that point, you got a pretty good chance of catching that breakout. So to me, that's the importance of not falling in love with one time frame. You can get all googly-eyed over that 15-minute squeeze. You can sell yourself on the idea that, hey, man, this thing's perfect. It's going to break out. You have to check your lower time frames. I really can't stress that enough. The best trades happen when you've got multiple squeezes. And from your bigger time frames all the way down to your smaller time frames, you got that full alignment. Structure is perfect everywhere. Momentum is above zero everywhere. You've got buy signals everywhere. Those are the moments in time we really want to save our cash for. And I hate to keep going back to last Wednesday, but I can't get over how perfect that squeeze was. We could do an entire weekend class on that one squeeze from last week. From the 4-hour all the way down to the 1-minute, perfect structure, perfect momentum, perfect alignment, buy signals everywhere, squeezes everywhere. That's how you can get that quick 30, 40, 50 point push. You've got a perfect 2-minute squeeze and boom, it fires long. That 2-minute squeeze wakes up the perfect 5-minute. 5-minute waking up the 15. Here comes the 30. Here comes the 1 hour. The moment in time we have this morning could not be any further than the moment in time we had on Wednesday. So treat it as such. But all right, y'all, any questions, any charts you want to take a look at? I will pull up the board here and let me see what you got. Let's go clean. Airbnb. All right, Airbnb. All right, so for the most part, it grades out pretty good. The 2-day, the daily, the 4-hour, and the 2-hour, 10 out of 10. So my entire approach to trading is finding a name like that and then trying to pair that with the squeeze. Structure is good everywhere. The signals are good everywhere. Okay, perfect. Give me a squeeze. All we got for squeezes on Airbnb, the monthly, the 30-minute, and the 5-minute. So we shall take a peek here. That's the only thing missing for me. All right, good structure, good looking setup, perfect daily chart. Do I have a way to express my edge? For me, that always comes from the squeeze. That could be a weekly squeeze for a swing trade. That could be a daily squeeze for a swing trade. That could be a 15-minute or a 30-minute for a day trade. But me being me, I'm a little bit lost when I don't have that squeeze. But I think because of the quality of it, you keep an eye on it, you wait for a squeeze, and then if you get one, good things could happen. Hey, good morning, Nancy. Yeah, Nancy, I'm gonna hold on to my AMD for now. My preference, of course, was it broke out this week. But I'm trying to be a little bit patient. Now, the biggest reason I'm being patient, nothing really changed in a meaningful fashion yesterday. It would have been a different story if the S&Ps broke under the 21 EMA and now the QQQ's got a daily sell signal. But really, in the grand scheme of things, all that happened yesterday was a pullback into support. So I am very much taking it hour by hour. Now, with that being said, we got to get some fresh buy signals coming through. All right, we got all these squeezes: daily, 4 hour, 2 hour, a 1 hour, a 15 minute. Those squeezes do me no good at all if my lower time frames look like this. I've got the squeezes. Where's my multi-time frame alignment? How can I call for direction out of the squeeze? My 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour in neutral. Right, that's not going to do me any good. I've got a 30-minute sell signal. The only buy signal we have is a 5-minute. It's a good-looking squeeze setup, but we got to get a little ammunition coming through here today. But the major reason I'm holding it is because, one, it did hold that 21 EMA. And then more importantly, so did the S&Ps and the QQQ. All right, next up is BITO. All right, BITO. It grades out really well. Let me check the score sheet here. So BITO gets an 83 out of 100, which means as of last night, it grades out better than the S&Ps. It grades out better than the QQQ, better than AMD, better than Meta, better than Amazon, better than Microsoft, better than Google, and a heck of a lot better than Apple. So yeah, BITO was the right towards the top end here. 83 out of 100. From there, I have to find a squeeze. And the good news is we got a few here. We do got a few. It's a little extended on the daily chart. So definitely keep that in mind. But if you check out the 3-day squeeze, that does look poised for a breakout. Again, though, I don't think BITO really matters this week. I don't think it matters into next week. I think the only things that matter, the S&Ps and the QQQ. Now, being that the market has been really strong, and being that BITO's got a beautiful 3-day squeeze, if the market can rebound and head back up towards those highs, you should get continuation higher from that squeeze. Vice versa, if the S&Ps and the Qs just totally puke it up next week, might be a little tough to get that breakout. But for now, a very, very nice 3-day squeeze. All right, let me jump over to YouTube. Good morning to the folks on the YouTube. So, Joseph, if you go to the Files tab in the Mastery, you'll find the Big 3 score sheet. And I try to update that every day when the market closes. Hey, DQ. DQ and Papa. What's up, boys? Oh, man, I miss y'all. A flood of memories just came running through my mind there. Great to see you guys. Anders, good morning, Anders. ExxonMobil for a short. All right, so energy. Energy's been a funny one where the last 2 or 3 months, when I run the scans, there's a lot of good looking energy names. Valero, MPC, Fang, and I think a few more. My biggest problem here with energy has been energy itself. All right, energy is the neighborhood. Inside that neighborhood, the MPCs, Valeros, the Fangs, you've got a few multi-million dollar condos. All right, some really, really nice pads. The problem is they're right in the middle of the hood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, going on 16 weekly closes under the 21 EMA. None of that is bullish. Then throw in the fact you got a big weekly squeeze, cranking out a sell signal. That's a number one reason I haven't gotten long energy. Until they can clean that up and get XLE back above that weekly 21. My concern is that one of the energy stocks tries to catfish me. It looks pretty on the surface. I show up for the lunch date, and I am very disappointed at what I find. I have been catfished by the energy sector. So ExxonMobil, yeah, that's a short. More importantly, off the weekly squeeze, it's a short that you could take 10 times in a row. And if it only works 2 or 3 times, you're going to be profitable. Reason being, you short it under the 21. You cover your short on a move back above that 21. The downside target is all the way down here at $90. And I know most of us trade the options, but if you put it in terms of the equity, I'm saying you can short it around 101. You probably want to take that trade off around 104. So you might assume about $3 to $4 of risk in exchange for about $10 of reward. Now, from there, if you're selling calls, you're buying puts, you're doing debit spreads, that kind of risk reward based on that entry, really, really good stuff. If I'm wrong, I lose 3 or 4. If I'm right, I'm catching 9, 10, $11. That's a beautiful thing. As opposed to, say, shorting it all the way down here at $95. All right, well, I might catch $5 lower. Or at that point, I might take $8 on the chin. Can I make that work over the duration of my career? I could. What's that going to require? A really good win rate. That's my entire focus this year. As far as the quality of the setups we're trading, they can lead to a good win rate. If you really wait for that multi-time frame alignment, you wait for everything to line up, they're going to work in your favor more often than they don't. From there, I want to trade those kinds of setups in a fashion where I don't need that good win rate. I want to aim to be profitable, even if I've got a 25-30% win rate. Again, a great example. That 4-hour squeeze from last Wednesday. If I'm ever going to be willing to lose money, it's going to be on a setup like that. I've got a bunch of squeezes. I've got multi-time frame alignment. I've got buy signals up the wazoo. More importantly, if I can find that moment in time right here, I don't need that to work 70, 80, 90% of the time. When I buy it there, I'm going to take it off down here. in exchange for a push like that. Now, think of how the mindset changes during every trade. I think a lot of us have this tendency to make our current trade the trade. Like, all right, baby, this is the one. All right, this is going to be the big one. This trade's going to make my week. It's going to make my month. This is the trade. You want to completely shift that mindset. Wait for a perfect setup. Pull the trigger. But then the thought process should be, hey, you know what? I've got no freaking clue if this one works. Better yet, I don't need this one to work. If I can get 2 or 3 out of 10 to work, I'm going to be a profitable trader because I'm waiting for that bigger moment in time. I'm buying it right near that 21 EMA. I've got limited downside and a lot of upside. Take yesterday, for example. I'm just going to imagine, you probably got a lot of folks getting short near the low of day. Like, oh my God, this is ugly. CNBC's cranking up the markets in turmoil special. I've got to get short. All right, well, maybe you catch another 10, 15 bucks down to that daily 21. Or maybe you're taking 60, 70 bucks on the chin. Can you make money getting short that far below your hourly 21? You can. But man, you better have like an 80, 90% win rate. I don't want to bank on having to have that win rate. If I can do it, great. So I'm not too sure why I went on that tangent, but hopefully that's helpful. All right, guys, a few more here. Mickey, good morning, Mickey. KO. The Coca-Cola. All right, KO. So we'll throw it on the board here. And the board says we got to short this. We can only short it, says the board. Okay, I'm glad you called this one out. Daily squeeze. -3 on the scoreboard. All right, so it leans a little bit more short. You've got a 4-hour, 2-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute sell signal. So until things change, this daily squeeze sets up for a better short. More importantly, way more importantly, is where you're finding that opportunity. Our downside target is about 57.50. And if we're going to short that daily squeeze, the line in the sand is at 21 EMA. Meaning if I get short Coca-Cola today and the squeeze fire is short and the trade works, I might catch me a push down towards 58 to 57.5. If I get short today and the trade does not work and we're boogieing back above that 21 EMA, I'm taking the trade off. On the equity itself, you're going to risk, where are we going to open? 59.20-ish. So on the equity itself, you're going to risk less than $1 to potentially catch $2. You don't need that to work every time. If that can work 30, 40% of the time, you're going to be a profitable trader. Only if you short it where you should and cover that short where you should. If we short it here and then next Monday it's breaking above 61 and we're still short, we're never going to be able to make that work. Find a squeeze. Find the alignment for a directional move. Lock in that good entry. And then all you're doing is playing the numbers game. All right, that one given trade on Coca-Cola, it's absolutely meaningless. It's not going to make or break your career. But if you can short something like that 100 times in a row, 25, 30, 40 of them work, you will be very profitable. Now, if we're shorting it down here at 58, that's a big problem. All right, I might catch 50, 60 cents, or I might take $1.52 on the chin. If you have a 90% win rate, all right, you can make that work. I don't know too many traders with a 90% win rate. That's the irony of it all. Everybody loves to promote their win rate. 70, 80% win rate on paper, it's really sexy. The best traders I know, like I'm talking like big dogs, 7 figures per month kind of guys. I know a few of them who have about a 20% win rate. Like think of that. Really think of that. You got guys and girls out there making millions of dollars every month on every 10 trades. Only 2 or 3 of them work. That is the total opposite of what most retail traders are trying to chase after. I want that 70% win rate. I want that 80% win rate. And guess what? I used to be that guy. For those of you all that have been following me for a few years, think of how I used to trade. All right, I've got this beautiful squeeze here in Google, and I'm going to go sell a deep out the money put credit spread. Why am I doing that realistically? Because it feels safe. And frankly, you can bat 70, 80% with credit spreads pretty consistently. So where's the problem there? The 2 or 3 times they don't work, I'm wiping out most of my winning trades. Right? I want to be on the other end of that spectrum. If I can bat 70%, then beautiful. Maybe one day I'm going to own the Boston Celtics. But if I can take trades where I'm risking 1 to make 2, better yet, risking 1 to make 3 or 4, I don't need that win rate. Prioritize your risk reward versus your win rate. Prioritizing your win rate tends to have us leaning into safer strategies. All right, well, I've got max conviction here, but I'm going to sell a deep out the money credit spread. Right? I'm going to risk $5,000 to make $1,000. And that'll work 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 times in a row. The 2 or 3 times it doesn't work, you're right back to break even. It's a vicious, vicious cycle. And I have been through that cycle too many a times. All right, guys, one more look here at the 15-minute squeeze. Has she progressed or has she worsened? Come on, Bulls. One more time for old time's sake. One more rally for the boys back home. All right, 15-minute squeeze. So we got a 4 out of 10. Not too shabby. But I got to check that 5-minute. If my 5-minute is sucking wind, probably not going to get a breakout. So the 5-minute, all right, now we're talking. 8 out of 10. We're getting that slingshot signal. Much, much better. I want to go further, though. I want a little bit more. Got to check that 2-minute. And the 2-minute. Come on, Billy. All right, 2-minute buy signal, right? Now we're cooking a little bit more gas. I'm going to go check that 1-minute. Lorna and Mirza, is anybody coming on after me? Or do I got time to hang out for a bit? What are all these alerts? Relax. But there we go, guys. Perfect 1-minute. Perfect 2-minute. The 5-minute is trying to shape up. All of that in the context of a 15-minute squeeze can set us up for a pop higher. All right, I'm going to keep chilling for now. Yeah, one more rally before Andrew gets on that plane. All right, so I'm going to change this time frame to the 2 minute. 5,000, the big playground bully. All right, 2 minute. We'll drop down here to a 1 minute. Come on, bulls. Let's get the internals going. We'll watch the ticks and the advanced decline. And we'll keep hanging out until they kick me out of the room here. But I don't think I'm cutting into anybody's time. All right, there goes the 5,000. Now, the thing you want to keep in mind, because of yesterday's flush, as we go higher and higher, we're going to keep running into different levels of resistance. At 50.10, you have your 15-minute 200. If we check the 30-minute, we probably got some resistance up here. If they want to clean things up, they got to come out swinging. I'm talking Mike Tyson levels of punching. The 30-minute, not too much here. All right, you got the 30-minute 200 at 50.15. A lot of back and forth here at 5K. A big, sexy round number. The ticks are strong. They open up at positive 1,000. All right, then the hourly 50. So first things first, we have to blow through 5K. Beyond that, they got to get it through that 50.10. And then on an intraday basis, they're clear of some decent resistance. Now, looking at the ticks over here, when they open up that strong, like a 1,500 reading right out of the gate, there's a chance the bulls might have shot their load. That might have been it. What we don't want to see is a push back down towards zero. Right out the gate, if the ticks go from positive 500 to zero and then down to a negative reading, it's going to be a little tricky to get that breakout above 5K. All right, let's check out the cash here, SPX and the QQQ. And the bad boy on the block is the hourly sell signal. Now, here's the thing. If they can pump it above that 21 EMA, they are going to cancel it out. And as far as sell signals, that's the only one we got. We got a lone wolf on the hourly. All right, so we're going to get an alert going up there. 49.85. I would hold off on getting long until they can do that. Imagine if everything was the opposite. If we look at the inverse chart, minus SPX, on the inverse hourly, you've got a buy signal, and you're pulling back right into big support. If I'm going to get short here, I'm probably going to wait for a break of support. Otherwise, my assumption is they might want to hold it here, and they might try to keep that push going. So on the real deal, I think you want to be a little patient here under 49.85. All right, let's go check the QQQ. The big man on campus, and it's the same exact chart. We're gapping up into a falling 21 EMA, momentum below zero, and we got ourselves a sell signal. Above that 21, they can get the short squeeze going. Below that 21, it might be a little bit of a gap and crap. Let's go check the Russell. And the ticks are holding up pretty good. Ticks at positive 600. The Russell gaps into a falling hourly 21. Dow Jones. Dow Jones got a little more work to do. But they also gap up near a falling hourly 21. And then a few of the big boys here. So Nvidia. Oh, Nvidia. Nvidia is not allowed to close red. Ever again. You will never see a day where Nvidia closes red. It can happen. They won't allow it. SMCI. My goodness. My goodness. Up another 5%. You know why? Because why not? The top dog on the score sheet doing top dog things. All right, let me check my AMD. If Nvidia and SMCI are green, I'd like to think little old AMD is green as well. And I am not wrong. All right, AMD. So we got rid of all the sell signals, step one. And then we got all these squeezes here. The daily 4-hour, 2-hour, 1-hour, and a 30-minute. I've got that part of the equation. I don't have that part of the equation. If I want to catch a huge push, I want every one of those squeezes from the daily down to the 30-minute to print a buy signal. Not that neutral nonsense. But all right, AMD is back in much better standing. And now we're going back to the futures here. So far, the ticks are doing a pretty good job. But we are right back under that 5,000. Like I said, tough morning to jump in and get long immediately when most things are gapping up into hourly resistance. Be patient, give it time, let all that dust from yesterday settle. And then I think long above those levels could make sense. All right, so now the 2-minute goes bearish. That's not going to help the 15-minute squeeze fire. The 1-minute goes neutral. So again, in the context of that 15-minute squeeze, we don't have that multi-time frame alignment for a push higher. And down she goes. You got to be patient today. Got to be patient. Okay, ticks coming back down towards... they hold up okay. Watch the ticks, though. If they break under 0, could get a further flush. All right, right into resistance and spanked. No bueno for the bulls. So that might have been it. We've got a lot of daylight left, of course, but that might have been it. So 48.45. I'm sorry, 49.85. Above that, we can get the short squeeze. Below that, based on the structure, easier for things to go lower. Much easier for things to go lower. Ticks at 380. Come on, ticks. We need that big old pump. We need that tick pump. And then QQQ, we're looking at about 432-ish. Now, if I want to get the early heads up here that they might try to push it and break out, again, watch your 2-minute and watch your 1-minute. SPX 2-minute is bullish. And the 1-minute is also bullish. If they lose that, 2-minute goes neutral, 1-minute goes neutral. We have absolutely nothing telling us the market wants to go higher. Right? The visual pattern recognition. If we're going to go from 49.75 to 50.10, I've got a pretty good sense of what everything should look like. And keeping it nice and simple, that should look like a whole lot of green. Not that crap. All right, ticks are stable. The semis are strong. And then over here on these two charts, that yellow line is the ATR trailing stop. So throw that into the equation. If the 2-minute and the 1-minute break below their trailing stop, we've got no chance of a rally. But they hold for now. Right? They hold for now. Oh my God. SMCI is on crack. That thing is so strong. Netflix having a good day. Meta having a good day. Google is very quiet. Now, the real sketch ball here is Apple. We talked about. If anything good's going to happen in the QQQ, they've got to clean up Apple. And you can still see the pressure. S&P's QQQ, everything else gaps into their hourly 21. Apple can't even do that. Right? It's under the 2-minute trailing stop, under the 1-minute trailing stop. No buy signals to be found anywhere. I've got no reason at all to think Apple's going to bounce. If that 1-minute can shift positive, 2-minute shifts positive, they might try to chip away at it here. So Apple's one of the bigger problems, and that remains an issue. Let's go check the dollar. And the dollar still looks pretty good. The dollar looking good. All right, ticks are at positive 800. A little push going here, a little push. See how we gap up and dip? But we don't get that negative shift on the 1-minute trailing stop? Potentially a positive. All right, let's go for round 2. Let me check what time somebody's jumping in here. I don't want to step on any toes. Simpler essentials. And if you guys and gals got questions, I'll keep going through the chat. Allison's on at 11:30. All right, we got nothing but time. Nothing but time. Hey Andrew, have a good safe flight, my friend. Enjoy the markets from 40,000 feet above the ground. You brave soul, you. All right, S&P is holding good. Ticks are strong. Check the Qs. All right, everything holding the trailing stop. If they can keep it above the 1-minute trailing stop, they've got a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Mara, what's Mara? Up 9,000%? Pretty close. Just a casual 13% gap up on a Wednesday. Nothing to see here. Yeah, that BITO is getting it going. I think that 3-day squeeze might have fired. Back to the spiders. 49.80, and we need 49.85 plus. Now, for what it's worth, if I'm going to get long, it'd look a little something like this. They've got to blow it through that 21. And then on the next dip, if they can keep it above that 21, then I'll look to jump in and get long for the push back towards the highs. But first things first. All right, AMD up 2. Come on, AMD. We're not counting you out just yet. We got faith in you, old girl. We got faith in you. All right, ticks down at 220-ish. So if the ticks hit 0, we're going to learn a little bit more here. Go check the futures. Good morning to watch, observe, and be patient. All right, 15-minute squeeze. One minute back in good standing. The 2-minute is almost back in good standing. And if they can keep it that way, the 15-minute might want to fire long. But we need that multi-time frame perfection. 5K is going to be a really tough level. If that 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, if they're not cranking, tough to get that breakout. Okay, ticks at 150. We're holding the 0 line. Good stuff, good stuff. QQQ. Watch for a tick flush, though. If we get a big tick flush minus 400, minus 500, it's probably going to take things right back down. The key today is, can the bulls keep the pressure going? Put yourselves in the shoes of anybody that got short yesterday. There's a pretty good chance if you got short yesterday, that end of day rally is already pissing you off. You're already going to bed a little bit irritated. Now you wake up, you're short, the market gaps up. Now you're a lot more irritated. If they keep the push going, a lot of folks who got short yesterday, they're going to throw in that towel. And then we can get the short squeeze. But only then, only then. Apple. There's always got to be that one guy trying to rain on everybody's parade. And today that guy is Apple. All right, so we're kind of stalling out here. Stalling out under the big level. Ticks are positive. Now, if and when we get a negative tick reading, we want to see if things can hold up or if everything just starts to crumble. If we get a negative tick reading and things actually hold up, that's a really good sign for the bulls. If the first negative 200, negative 400 tick reading just sends everything lower, not the greatest. All right, we got to get a squeeze to watch here. So we're going to switch over to the futures. And we're going to watch that 15-minute squeeze here for a bit. And the drivers are going to be the 2-minute and the 1-minute. See how the 2-minute can't get above that trailing stop? Not ideal. Oh, Jeff, I love it, man. I love hanging out with y'all. All right, 2 minute goes neutral, 1 minute goes neutral, 2 minute goes bearish, excuse me. The 15 minute goes neutral. All right, way too much back and forth. Typically, my preference is I want to get long right here, inside the squeeze near that 21 EMA. On a day like today, it's a little bit different. We're gapping up into big resistance. If we can't break through that resistance, the squeeze might turn and break short. Today's a day where if I'm going to get long, I actually want to be late to the party. Get a big breakout above that 5,000. From there, 5K becomes the over-under level. If previous resistance can turn into new support, then you got your long entry. All right, our 1 minute has a sell signal. The 2 minute has a sell signal. So at the moment, no way we can think the 15-minute squeeze breaks long. Some days it's okay to be late to the party. Today feels like one of those days. Ticks are still solid, really solid. We got the internals for a push. The ball is in the Bulls' court. Breakout or bust. All right, Apple going lower. Apple, what's the issue here? All of your buddies want to go higher. Meta, Amazon, Google, Nvidia. And then we got you. Yeah, Apple's going to be tricky. If anything, treat Apple like an internal today, right? Watch Apple from the same point of view. A huge tech stock, a very heavily weighted stock. If they can clean up the 1 minute and the 2 minute, that's going to help the market. If Apple can even just stabilize, it's going to help the market. Sell signals all the way down to a 1 minute. I wouldn't call that too promising just yet. Ticks at positive 600. It feels like they want to go for it, but a feeling is not a good trade, right? It's not a good setup. We've got a 2 minute squeeze. Anytime you have multiple squeezes, 5 minute, 15 minute, 2 minute, drop down to the lowest time frame. Before the 5 minute can fire, and before the 15 minute can fire, they got to fire that 2 minute. So that can leave a trail of clues. 2 minute squeeze fires long. All right, well, not a guarantee, but increased odds the 5 minute will do the same thing. 2 minute squeeze break short. Not a guarantee, but an increased probability the 5 minute will break short. All right, come on, old girl. Mush, mush. Whoopsh, whoopsh. Oh, we have got good internals. We have got strong semiconductors. We've got every tech stock green except Apple. All right, 2 minute getting that trailing stop shift. I really hope you all notice how this morning, nothing at all like last Wednesday. Last Wednesday morning, there was no question what the trade was. That does not mean the trade works, but there's no guesswork. You had a squeeze everywhere. You had buy signals everywhere. You had a lot of clarity to call for direction. You don't have the same level of clarity just yet today. Few time frames look good. Few time frames are a little iffy. Got a lot of things under big resistance. Patience pays. Still got that 1 hour sell signal. All right, watch the ticks here. Ticks going down towards 200. 138. If they break negative, we really got to watch how the market reacts. And like I said, the fact that the ticks opened up at plus 1500, not always very sustainable. That might have been their best shot right out the gate. Uber, what's Uber doing? It's probably up 300%. Do they have earnings? That looks like an earnings gap. No, they didn't. They're just gapping up for the sake of gapping up. All right, ticks are holding steady. Holding steady. Come on, 2-minute squeeze. You know you want to break long. I know it. You know it. Everybody watching knows it. All right, ticks at 76 here, so we might get that zero test. All right, looking over here. Got Apple going a little bit lower. Microsoft is also red. However, Microsoft looks significantly better than Apple, so I don't think a huge issue there. SMCI is up 8%. I got to do the math. Let's do the math real quick. That's just crazy. Never mind your weekly 21. Weekly 3 ATR is down there at 620. We currently trade 860. You are not going to see this often at all. Tomorrow morning, SMCI can gap down 30%. The weekly chart is still super overbought. That's crazy. The weekly 21 down there at 412 is 50% below the current price. Madness. Madness, I tell you. What's happening here is it's good old-fashioned accumulation. And I think sometimes we have to remember that. Like, what's actually moving the price of a stock? It's not me getting long. It's not you getting long. Put it this way. Everybody in the room right now could win the lottery tomorrow. We could pull together all of our money, billions of dollars. We are never going to push a stock the way an institution can. All right, they're tossing around hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars. They're not looking at 2 ATR. They're not looking at 3 ATR. They're looking at a future valuation. The fact they continue to buy it means they think SMCI is worth more. worth more than 600, worth more than 700, worth more than 800, and they'll keep on buying it until they're done. All right, that's a few big boys trying to build up a position. Translation, the day you actually get a meaningful pullback, you want to look to buy that. All right, the ticks are negative. Dun, dun, dun. Negative 100. And now the key is, how does the market handle it? Do we tuck our tail in and run? Run for the hills? Or do things actually hold up pretty good here? If they hold up and then the ticks go back to positive 400, 500, 600, we can get that push. All right, and watching the 2-minute chart here, things do hold up pretty good for now. All right, ticks back to positive. If we can get another tick surge, they might go for the push here. Let's go AMD. Let's go AMD. All right, ticks at 0. Trying to hold that 2-minute squeeze. But so far, we are 30 minutes into the open. And getting long or short has probably been frustrating either which way so far. All right, we're not breaking up. We're not breaking down. We're chopping. We are chopping. All right, ticks at 150. Big move in Netflix. Netflix up 3.5. Meta up 2. And freaking Apple. So gross. The reason I'm making a big deal out of Apple is because Apple's kind of a big deal. Go to etfdb.com. All right, little tick push here. Little tick push. Against all odds, they might go for the push. But if you look at the S&P 500, also known as the spiders, the Big Apple here, all right, S&P 500, 500 stocks. Apple makes up 6.5% of the entire basket. Right? Apple, that one name, is 6.5% of your entire market. I think a little meaningful. QQQ, Apple is almost 9%. Now, if Nvidia keeps pushing, Meta keeps going up 2%, Netflix keeps breaking out, then Apple might not be a huge deal. Think of it like a basketball team. All right, we got Dylan Quinto starting at center. You've got me at point guard, and Apple's Michael Jordan. If MJ is not playing, it doesn't mean we can't win. Right? If I play really well, if Microsoft goes really well, we might win the game. But we are not the same team without MJ. If that at all makes sense. So we got to get a little bounce going here. A little something, something. All right, back to ES. 49.98. We are knocking on the door. And now we got a triple squeeze. 15-minute, 5-minute, and 2-minute. And they've all got that buy signal. So this feels like their best chance so far today. They held up on that little tick break. That little itsy bitsy tick break. Now think of all the traders right now across the world in this very moment in time watching that 5,000 level on the ES. Like millions of sets of eyes. Those kinds of crowded levels can always be a little bit tricky. You've got one part of the crowd looking for a breakout. You've got one part of the crowd already short, and they probably got their stops somewhere up here. You got the other crowd wanting to short it. And then you've got folks like us. We're just watching for now. We don't want to do the tango with the chop. But those crowded levels can always be a little tricky. You got millions of people watching one level, and they're all looking for different trades. All right, ticks back to 0. AMD up 3%. That does not suck. All right, come on now. Negative 70 on the ticks, negative 100. Do we crumble or do we hold up? All right, lowest tick reading of the day. Apple keeps going lower. I tell you what, guys, if it weren't for Apple, we'd get ourselves a nice push here, I think. Me thinks we'd get a nice push. Even Tesla's green. Like, come on now. Tesla's green, but Apple can't keep it together. What's up with that? Robert, lift. Oh, okay. So is that a little sympathy? A little sympathy. Wow, 37%. Talk about a lift. Badoom. Just one time in my career, I want to buy calls before earnings and catch a push like that. When I buy calls before earnings, it's almost a guarantee you're going to get the opposite. Had I bought calls last night, you're probably getting a 36% gap down. Crazy stuff. All right, 49.98. We got a few squeezes, got ourselves a few buy signals. We've got all the fixings for a push. Give me the ticks back at 600. Give me Apple doing anything other than going lower. And I think we got something here. Again, right up into 5K and back down she goes. And the point I was trying to make earlier, if I were to trade the squeeze how I would traditionally trade it, like, all right, I got my buy signals, we're 10 out of 10. I'm going to buy those calls right here. Granted, if that works today, I'm going to make more money as opposed to waiting for a breakout and then buying a dip. Some days you want to prioritize your peace of mind over your profits. Human nature-wise, it's a tough thing to do. We all want those profits every day, every minute, every hour. You have to distinguish between easy money and hard money. Not every easy money trade works, but you do tend to get less gray hairs. All right, ticks back up. Positive 250. So far, they're keeping it together here on the little breaks in the tick. And then there's Apple. Apple's got to try really, really hard to fight off that 4-hour squeeze. We're at big support though, so it's a tricky little spot here. The signals look like crap. You got a big bad 4-hour squeeze. The only thing that can save us, my good people, is that 200 SMA. Right at your low of day. So if any of y'all want to plow millions and millions of dollars into Apple here, I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. All right, ticks popping. SMCI up 10. And we are chopping in the 2-minute squeeze. All right, I'm going to throw Apple down here. You got to hold that 183. Well, we'll keep hanging out here, guys, until the squeeze breaks long or short. Yeah, AMD in much, much better standing. We got our slingshot signal in the daily squeeze. So the first little heads up here, they might want to take that towards that 190-ish. 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute buy signals, 1 hour squeeze. But if the market rolls over again, I don't think AMD can buck the trend. If the market can hold up and begin to head back towards the highs, then I think I'm going to get my 190. All right, to be determined. All right, y'all, don't look. Apple may or may not be trying to bounce. At least try. At least try. Maintain a little bit of dignity, why don't you, Apple? Ticks are stable. Imagine the 2-minute squeeze never fires. 5 hours from now, we're still 2-minute squeezing. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Although at this rate, kind of feels like it. Come on, Apple, get 184. Get back above that 184. Does it make sense in terms of why I'm saying wait to get long today? Like, wait for the breakout, wait for a dip, and then place your long? Does that make sense, guys? Again, if we flip the chart upside down, now it's got a bit more of a bullish nature to it. Buy signals, good momentum, pulling back into support. If I'm going to short this, I don't want to be the first guy. I can make a lot more being the first guy, but I want to go for the easier cash. Let them dump it. Wait for your next bounce. If they can't take it back above that level on that bounce, then I think you got room to go lower. So today's just the opposite. We're getting a gap up. The nature of the hourly chart, it's not screamingly bullish. Right now, the hourly chart is a big nothing. It does lean short. You got a sell signal. It's a tough read, All right, Apple's trying to sober up here. Ticks are hanging out at 0. And we are going on 45 minutes of a 2-minute squeeze. These are my favorite mornings. It's what I dreamed about as a youngster. I dreamed of the glory of watching a 2-minute squeeze. All right, 30-minute goes bullish. If they want to go for it, they can go for it. The 30-minute down to the 1-minute is giving them their blessing. Question is, do they take that and run with it? Do I have any Apple trade? I do not. Although I tell you what, if I short Apple right here, it'll probably finish the day up 2%. I don't think I'm going to take one for the team, but that might do the trick. All right, I'll short it. Boom. Apple has been upgraded by every firm on Wall Street with a price target of $1,200 because Taylor got short. Sometimes that trick works. And we'll do that for fun in the options room. Going back, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were looking for a bounce in the room. So I took one for the team. I got short, and that was the bottom. I think I might have been the last person to get short that day. And then I tried yesterday, and I made 3,000. So sometimes it works to my benefit. Sometimes it works to the benefit of the room. All right, 5K. Come on. Punch through, baby. Apple's getting a little better. 184 coming right up. Ticks are at plus 500. And 5K is the biggest brick wall known to mankind. All right, little push. Little push. A dramatic pause. All right, little push, little push. We've got our 5-minute and our 15-minute squeeze in the queue. Ticks at 580. Here comes Apple. Get Apple to 185, and now we're really talking. Now we're really talking. All right, 5,001. Do they push and go for it, or do they go right back into their cave? Got the S&Ps trying to break above their high of day. All right, come on. Don't get shy. Don't get shy. $5,003 and 50 cents. Oh, come on, Toss. Don't freeze on me now. Don't freeze on me now that things are getting good. Two-minute squeeze is still in compression. We are building up that energy. Give me 10 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. All right. Ticks are at 700. Yeehaw. If they can fire the 2-minute squeeze, then we're looking for the 5-minute to fire and then the 15-minute. At which point you will hear the shorts squealing in the distance. Ticks at 760. Apple at 184 and change. All right, Apple's trying to get off the couch. Apple had a little bit too much to drink last night. Trying to sober up. Pounding back that ginger ale. Let's go check the cash real quick here. QQQ. How are we doing on that 1 hour? They canceled out the sell signal. That's a nice push here. And like I said, I want to see them push it. All right, run for the hills. Then I'll take that next pullback above 432. Then I want to play it longer. And if we go from 432 right into the highs, then so be it. But the QQQ is clean of sell signals. And see SPX. And the S&Ps are doing it as well. So for both the QQQ and the SPX, mark up your hourly 21. And if they can keep pushing it higher, that's ideal. But at a minimum, they got to keep it around that level. Even if we just trade sideways above the hourly 21, that can give the market enough time to catch its breath, rebuild the 5-minute, rebuild the 15, rebuild the 30, and then eventually rebuild the hourly. All right, 21 back above the 50. Momentum below zero, but it's on the up and up. The slightest bit of promise here. And again, the context today is a lot of people probably got short yesterday. If they got short anywhere down here, they went to bed a little bit PO'd. They woke up a little bit more PO'd to a gap up. They keep pushing. I think a lot of shorts are going to throw in that towel. All right, Apple. Come on, Apple. Don't turn into a coward now. All right, so we fired the 2-minute squeeze, and we're coming up on that hourly 50. All right, big spots here, guys. Big spots. All right, 2-minute squeeze fired. So next up to bat is the 5. Yep, 2-minute fired. Drop down to the 5. AMD, brand new high a day. Bad AMD. What is up with these charts? Is it too late to buy the 15-minute squeeze? Like I said, on my end, I want to be late to the party. So I want them to keep pushing it, and then I want to catch a dip. But in terms of playing the 15-minute squeeze itself, yeah, today's been a tough morning. You had the signal all throughout there. So on a day where we're not below big resistance, you would have wanted to buy, you want to buy those calls, sell those puts, buy those butterflies right on top of that 21. Now you're catching the push. You got some profits coming in. Squeeze hasn't even fired. That would be the ideal entry. The context of today makes it a little different. At this point, I wouldn't take the 15-minute squeeze entry. Reason being, the 15-minute 21's down at 49.94. The 15-minute target is at 15.40. So you're looking at about $7 of reward for 13, 14 bucks of risk. So a little different today. What I'm looking for from the squeeze today is take the market higher, clean up the lower time frames in the process. That all gives me a chance to jump in on the next pullback or the next 15-minute squeeze. If we get another squeeze like that above these key levels, then I'm going to buy it at that 21. All right, Apple's just kind of farting around here, though it doesn't seem to matter just yet. Ticks are solid. You go check my AMD. That should be a new high for our trade. I would like to think. No, not quite yet. Almost there. Almost there, Nelly. All right, 5-minute squeeze just fired. Commence the release of energy. And now we're looking for that 15 to join the party. Beautiful. I can't stress enough, though. Traditionally, you want to be buying that back here. So hopefully you all understand the context of today. It is a bit different. Let's jump to the 15. Here goes AMD. All right, ticks heading back to 0. Apple heading back down. And that 50-10 level is our hourly 21. I'm sorry, the hourly 50. The hourly 50. Come on. Yeah, hourly 50. Got to get through that. And if we can blow through that, right, 21 EMA is going to come up, eventually cross back through the 50. Then you got your hourly chart back in good standing. All right, ticks at 270, negative 270. So the lowest tick reading on the day. Let's see if we can hold up here. Minus 230. Got to keep those ticks above 0. We must. We must. What are you going to do, ticks? What are you going to do? Hanging out under 0. Apple back under 184. We got that pesky hourly 50. Trying to ruin all the fun. Okay, ticks back above 0. See if we can get a big pump going here. And we are smooching that hourly 50. A little Valentine's Day kiss. Da, 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 da. Apple slipping a bit. Is AMD still valid for an entry? Let's take a look. Yeah, it's still valid. It's got room for 190, so about 13 bucks higher. And I think the squeeze is no longer valid below 169. So not a bad entry. Not a bad entry. What the heck is that all about? What the hell was that? Well, that was weird. Do I have a trade open? Oh my goodness, I do have a trade open. I gotta get a grip. What am I doing? I bought some cheap calls on the futures yesterday, and I totally forgot about them. Yeah, what am I doing? Get a grip, Horton. I'm gonna take those off because I didn't even know I had them. That's not good behavior. Give me a minute here, folks. I gotta stop doing that. Okay. I gotta stop doing that. All right, back to it. But yeah, I think AMD is valid for an entry for sure. But I don't think it's about AMD. AMD is a really good setup. It's in the strongest sector in the market. It's going higher today because the market is bouncing. It was down 3% at one point yesterday because the market was pulling back. So you might be trading AMD, but what you're really trying to trade is continuation of your bull market. AMD, Meta, Netflix. Dare I even say SMCI? I don't think they keep pushing if the market falls apart. All right, 15-minute squeeze. The ticks are getting a little sloppy here. Apple's heading back towards the low of the day. And that hourly 50 remains a level to beat here. That tis the level to beat. Now let's watch our 1 minute trailing stop over here. If that shifts negative under that hourly 50, we might come in a little bit. If they can keep the 1 minute above the trailing stop, they can keep going for the breakout. The big bad breakout. Ticks at 0. The reason I'm trying to wait for a push and then I want to buy it on a pullback, even though we're going higher, the structure of the hourly does not support continuation. 50 is going lower, 200 below the 50, 21 below the 50. If they can really rip it higher, we can fix all of that. All right, they push, they push, they push, they push. Up goes that 21, back through the 200, back through the 50. Now you got your stacked EMAs. You got momentum back above zero. There's a huge difference between, okay, we're popping and we're trending higher. Right. Sustainability. We really can't get a sustainable hourly trend with a 21 below the 50 and the 50 pointing lower. That's why I think today requires a lot of patience. When you have this somewhat busted structure, sometimes these pops can be nothing more than a bull trap. Like, oh my God, here comes the rally. Off goes the market. You're buying it somewhere up here. Oh, this hourly chart looks nothing like this hourly chart. You might find yourself a little bit trapped. And that's not my preferred way to trade it. I want to buy it early in the squeeze before everybody else wants to buy it. Doing that in a perfect hourly makes a lot of sense. Doing that in a somewhat sketchy hourly structure, very much a different story. All right, SMCI's moving, AMD up 3, NVIDIA up 2.3. Apple's trying to hold up. Okay, now the 1 minute just got that negative shift. All right, the first little chink in the armor here. We lost our buy signal. We're losing our trailing stop. Now, a 1 minute might not take down the market on its own. From there, you watch your 2 minute. If the 2 minute does the same thing, big 3 goes from green to blue, negative shift at the trailing stop, then that hourly 50 is going to continue to be a bigger level of resistance. Ticks at the low of day, right? All little things to watch. But for a few minutes there, from the 1 minute all the way up to the 30 minute, the indicator was locked and loaded. Buy signals above that trailing stop. That can give you that sustainable push. You lose your 1 minute, 2 minute goes from bullish to neutral. Can't take out that hourly 50. All right, now the 2 minute is getting that negative shift. And we'll see if we can hold 5,000 here. The ticks are hanging out under zero longer than they have all morning. Go check the cash. All right, we're still above that hourly 21. They have to hold it here, though. They have to hold it to avoid catastrophe. QQQ hourly. They're trying to hold it. They're trying to hold it. Okay, ES back to 5,000. 1 minute negative shift, 2 minute negative shift. Ticks at the lowest reading of the day, minus 360. Easy money versus harder money. Easy dollars versus difficult quarters. Getting long under all this resistance, that's a tough quarter to make. Let them get it above. Let them rebuild. Find your next 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. From there, you can make some easier dollars. All right, ticks negative 350. See if they hold 5,000. You'll find over time there's days you wake up and you just know what to do. You've got all the clarity in the world. No resistance coming up. You got squeezes, buy signals. Everything's just in a nice orderly fashion. And then you have days like today. Do we short squeeze? Do we dump? Do we break out? Do we flush? Do we do none of the above? The point I'm trying to make is any cash we could throw at the market right now, I want to save that cash until I have that clarity. All right, we are back back below 5K. Still can't get the ticks back above 0. Boo. Everybody throw tomatoes at the bulls. So QQQ, 2 minute and 1 minute, not doing what they should. So now from here, if we're going to take out the high of day and keep pushing, I got to get that 1 minute and that 2 minute right on the right back in good standing. Until then, tough to call for another push. All eyes on the 1 minute. Now Apple wants to pop. All right, that 1 hour sell signal is trying to creep back in. She's flashing us. She's flashing us right now. Right. And of course, I built the indicator so it's easier to understand the inner workings of the indicator. Right, but knowing that this morning we're on the verge of having that hourly sell signal, that alone calls for patience. If my 1 hour time frame is a few inches away from printing a sell signal, that's not a morning where I can jump in and just buy everything. Back here, you wake up, you buy calls, you go to the beach, you come back home, and you're rich. Easy dollars, difficult pennies. All right, so Q's back down. The S&P's hourly. And there she is. We're getting flashed by an hourly sell signal. All right, ticks. Come on, ticks. It's 5, 10. About 15 minutes in a row, we're under the 0 line. So far today, no great trade ideas, but I hope you've all found it helpful. We'll hang out for another 15, and then let me check the schedule for today. But my fun here is not done. Let me see, simpler trading. So I will be on the mic again at 11:30 Central. So for all of you on my mastery, I'm going to dual broadcast at 11:30. I'll go live in the central room, and I'll go live in our mastery. And we'll keep the party going. You got to let them figure it out, though. All right, ticks back above 0. Do our 1 minute and our 2 minute check. We've got a 1 minute sell signal, so yeah, you can the idea of the market going higher until at the very least they can get rid of that 1 minute sell signal. Hopefully you noticed when we're pushing earlier, we didn't have a 1 minute sell signal. We had a buy signal. We had a 2 minute buy signal. We had a 5 minute buy signal. Now we still got that 15-minute squeeze, right? Nothing good can come from that if the 5, the 2, the 1 can't line up perfectly. All right, little tick pop. Come on now, ticks. Bring them back home. Tesla's up 1 and Apple's down 0.7. What is this world becoming? All right, they're trying to keep their 5-minute buy signal. Right back up to 5K. Tough stuff. Tough stuff. And then there's AMD. Just being a doll today. Just being a doll. But for those of you asking me, can you still buy AMD? The chart of AMD says yes. I like the idea of doing that a lot more. If the indices can at least stabilize the 1 hour. Nothing good will come from AMD. If we gap into a falling 21, do the old shuffle, and then just puke it back up. If they can just keep it above that 21, AMD can go for it. If we can get a rally going off the hourly 21, then I think AMD really goes for it. Down goes the S&Ps, down goes the QQQ. Very strong chance down goes everything. All right, ticks at 400. Come on now. Yeah. There's just no edge here. Right. My edge comes from buy and sell signals and squeezes. Where's my squeezes? Well, I've got none. Where's my buy and sell signals? Well, my biggest piece of ammunition is a 5-minute buy signal. Can I do better than that? Absolutely. You better believe it. Chaz, an iron fly at 5,000. Are you thinking for Friday? I do think a 5,000 pin for Friday would not be the craziest thing. It's monthly options expiration. And if we can pin at 5K, that kind of guarantees everybody gets screwed. And the market loves that. Anybody with a 49.75, 49.50 put, they're crap out of luck. Anybody with a 50-50 call, 5100 call, they're crap out of luck. So I think the path into 5K between now and Friday really comes down to whether or not they can stabilize above the hourly 21. If we can hang out here all day, clean up the 5, clean up the 15, clean up the 30, get some fresh buy signals rolling through, 15, 20 bucks higher into a big, sexy round number at options expiration, I don't think asking for too much. But as we say that, the market chuckles and begins to head lower. Keep in mind, October, November, December, January, February, I think a lot of us have gotten in the habit of assuming we're going to continue to go higher. I think very worthwhile to note the fact that since October 30th, we've only gotten these sell signals on 3 occasions. Very easy to take that signal and say to myself, all right, well, something has changed. It might not be the end of the world. It might not be the end of the bull market. But if I'm trying to find that immediate continuation higher, this is very different than what we've had for 3 or 4 months. Got a few back there, and they didn't do too much. We got a few back there. And that time around back there, we did go into our daily 21. And here we are again. So I've got to take that rule and avoid getting long until that changes. We can go all the way back to the first day the stock market ever traded. You're not going to find a sustainable rally when the hourly prints a sell signal. It's the way the indicator works. It's physically impossible. We can't take out 49.90. We're not going to 5K, 50.30, 50.50 if the hourly chart looks like that. That doesn't mean we're going lower. It just means they don't have a spot to get long just yet. Oh, Apple, you are a piece of work. You are a real piece of work here, buddy. Yuck, yuck. I'm telling you, there's always got to be that one guy. And I'm sure we all know a guy like that. Right? You love them, you're friends, but man, they can make things difficult. I've got a few friends like that. Like, all right, man, we're going out tonight. We're going to dinner. We're going to have a few drinks. That's it. And next thing you know, just total mayhem. That is Apple. If the semi stocks weren't as strong, the market would be a lot lower. AMD up 3, Nvidia up 2, Meta is strong, Netflix is strong. If those names weren't putting in that work, then it'd be a little bit of a different day. A lot of pressure here in Apple. Now, what do y'all think? Do you think they can actually break it under that daily 200? This is the fourth attempt. As they say, fourth time is the charm. They try once, huge push. Try once, huge push. They did break it back there, but only for an hour. It's just we're riddled with sell signals. And then that big fat 4-hour squeeze. That big fat loser on the 4-hour. That's a dangerous little combination here. What do y'all think? We think yes, we're here for blood. We are here for blood. Minus 300. So today's lesson. And granted, did we open a trade and make money together this morning? No. But we didn't lose any money trying to be first. That's really, really important. There will be days where as soon as the market opens, you want to get long. Right? Go study the 4-hour chart from the S&P futures from last Wednesday. Right? 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, S&P futures last Wednesday. Study that chart religiously from the 4-hour all the way down to the 1 minute. And you'll see how today's session was nothing like that session. We've got resistance. We've got sell signals. We don't have clarity. I love nothing more than being the first guy to buy it. All right, peace of mind over profits. Is the market handing me a layup? Or is the market handing me a behind the back half court shot? Today is a behind the back half court shot. I might make it, but it's not a layup. Not a layup. It was all looking promising, folks. We can't trend higher until they fix all these little problems. 21 below the 200, not good. 21 below the 50, not good. The 50 sloping lower, not good. When they correct that, you look to get long aggressively. Until then, have the mindset of, I'm willing to be the last guy or girl to get long, but I'm going to wait for that confirmation. It is a patience thing. But all right, guys, let me I'll go through the chat here, see if you got any last minute questions, and then I will see y'all again at 10:30 Central. What a tangled web she weaves. Yeah, Nancy, they might try to do the little the reverse gap fill. They might. Yeah, it's looking like it. Now notice, right? You gapped up back here. And a little bit of chop, and she keeps going. So the hourly chart back here looks nothing like the hourly chart right here. Momentum-wise, big three score-wise, big three signals-wise, structure-wise, all the wises. All right, AMD holds up pretty good. Right, but there you have it, right? AMD's up 3.5% on the high of day, while the S&Ps and the QQQ are pushing. S&P's pulling back, QQQ pulling back, AMD pulling back. AMD doesn't matter. NVIDIA doesn't matter. The market matters. Okay, Peter, so if you go to your studies and then go to your indicator settings for the big three squeeze labels, make sure the multiplier is set to 3. By default, I think it's set to 2.5. I've got mine working at 3. So that might be the difference there. Yeah. The Dikembe Mutombo. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's perfect. Dikembe says, no. You ain't dunking on me today. Yuck. Yuck. And there we are back at the low of day. We are filling the gap. And yeah. When the structure is busted, patience pays. Oh my God, here comes the short squeeze. We're going to break out. Come on in, guys. The water's warm. Come on, get your 5,000 calls. Get your 50-50 calls. They rope you in. They smoke you out. But all right, folks, I'll let you go here. Thank you for a good time this morning. Wow, it's 11 o'clock. We just went for almost 2.5 hours. That flew by. Maybe we'll do this more often. We'll keep our Monday streams kind of short and sweet to the point, and then maybe hang out for a little bit longer on the Wednesdays. But all right, folks, have a great day. Hope you found all that helpful, and I'll see the rest of you at 10:30 Central in the Mastery and the Options Room. Adios.